Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of Power Spike. We are in the home stretch of the summer season, right before playoffs. dGon here alongside Jamada and Dom to break things down in the world of League. Yeah, man. What did we have? We had some LEC Europe kicked off. The greatest of some time has started his European campaign. Navi getting themselves into League and almost giving Dom a fucking heart attack in the middle of the process of that. Let's see. We had Telecom War. That was probably the most one-sided Telecom War in a very, very long time. We also had Gen G versus T1 bleed on over from this week. We also had D plus Kia looking like Fnatic, but the bad Fnatic today over in the LPL. Top esports back on top. AL not doing so hot. Kind of trying to figure themselves out. BLG, another player joins the roster. I think I saw the Shadow apology form get posted because he's been the key to success there. IG having some sticking power. And then over at the LTA North, they had week 2. They took some banners, and it was pretty. I don't know. They're grinding away. Disguised will play Dignitas this week. There you go. That's the LTA North. Jamada, how was the last 10 days for you, or 12 days for you?
Good. Honestly, the NLC playoffs kicked off. I know it's not quite the major regions, but that's been fun to cover. No Ruddy in the upper bracket, or anywhere good. But the matches have been really fun. LR look like they can actually get challenged by the other teams this split. They've been going through a lot of weird troubles. So that's where a lot of my focus has been, and then all the content stuff. So it's been super fun. It's been great keeping up with that. And then obviously this split is going. The summer split so far. It's started, the cart's moving.
How about for you, Dom?
It's been good. I've been, doing everything as normal, just doing all my leagues coverage, doing the coaching and everything. Bro, we are getting killed by the formats in the West. That's all I gotta say. I watched LEC this week. Checked it out. I mean, I don't know if there was one match. I mean, I guess KC Giant X was like hype, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Like that. I mean, that's what you got right now. So you gotta just live with it. I don't know. I've been just waiting for people to change these formats because Jesus Christ, like I just feel like it's there's so many games that are just stomps these days,
Yeah.
It's been tough to watch for the most part.
I wonder if there's a world where maybe in the West they would go to a hybrid format to get the same, so that we could get the hybrid online offline format, so that we could get the same number of matches and mostly the same formats across the regions, but that the game numbers can go up. Like we've talked about it a lot. It's expensive to turn the light switch on, both in Berlin and in Los Angeles at the studios there, especially when you don't sell per game tickets, you sell like per day tickets. Whereas in LPL and here in LCK, like it's per series tickets, so the revenue's there, and then also it's just everything that we've said with the viewership experience in terms of the quality of the games. The teams get more reps, the fans get more games, it's on a lot more, you can check in with your teams, it's more exciting. I think, I don't know, maybe I am just LCK washed and or LCK pilled and LPL pilled, but gone are the days of where, wow, this matchup is like an NFL and you're here and you get one match to win it all, and then it doesn't feel like that anymore. It does feel like the amount of stage game reps matter more than each game mattering every time, because of the amount of variance that can happen, and you get to see cool things that happen throughout. So I don't know if you think that's a solution here, Dom, for it, but I just wish there were more games in the West.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I don't even care about the number of games. I just wish there was more interaction between the good teams. Like that's what people really need. And right now, what we get zero interaction between the best teams, right? In both regions. And we got even lucky with this LTA format. I mean, I think there's a lot of worlds where if TL and Shopify do what they should and just stomp the bottom teams in LTA, then you'll just get all the good teams beating all the bad teams in just different orders. Like that's your schedule for the first 3 weeks. And then LEC, I don't know, man. I feel like this format is one where you just get there's 4 weeks of play and there's 2 bangers in 4 weeks. So everyone's talked about it. Everyone's beat it to death. I just don't understand the purpose behind these formats because I feel like they're making the league less and less watchable, which I just can't imagine is like, is this good for sponsors? Like, I can't imagine any sponsors being like, oh, nice. It's cool to see that like the fucking LTA is getting an average of like 20,000, 30,000 less, which is a huge percentage when you consider how low the viewership was already, right? And then you look at LEC and it's like, yeah, you're experiencing the same thing there. I mean, I just don't see how you can be happy with these results. And yeah, I mean, they're not playing more games, like you said. So just one of those things where you're just hoping that it changes. I just don't know how we even got here. I think that's the main thing that I'm confused on. How did we get to the point where this is like what we're doing? It just makes no sense.
Jamada, Dom and I always have this type of conversation in the summer. It is the summer lull, and people had MSI, and if there was a little bit of in-season burnout, it would be now. But I kind of do feel like he has a point this time.
Yeah, I mean, first off, it's good to know, Unk and Unk, that this is a recurring thing. So, 2 old men shouting at clouds. And I feel like a nephew watching this one unfold. But it is true. And I think the thing for me is maybe it's just because I'm very peeled towards like LPO in general and the LCK, but just the formats of like the Ascend Nirvana / like upper lower of fuck it, just have the shit teams play the shit teams, right? At least the games are kind of entertaining, and then we get top 5 versus top 5, or in LTA would be top 4, or LTA North would be top 4 versus top 4. Top 4 versus bottom 4. You would at least get like entertaining games out of the top 5 where they have to push each other constantly, and then we get the whole, hey, we get to see G2 versus KC 2 or 3 times in the span of 4 or 5 weeks. That feels good. That at the very least, I think, again, from an entertainment standpoint, pretty good. From a game quality standpoint, pretty good. From a stage like games standpoint, is probably pretty good. The only thing that for me we'd have to think about is, we had the discussion before when we was talking about whether or not DK would make it into the top 5, but like your scrim opponents basically, and how that impacts the lower teams and the upper teams. Does it create a bigger divide effectively? If you're like kind of unfortunate enough to, air quotes, unfortunate enough to be a 5th place team in a 10 team league, do you level up, or do you basically just get stomped the entire time on stage? And if you're a 6th place team, do you just stomp the rest of the bottom just to show up to playoffs and then get completely jumped on by the rest of the good teams? So I think overall, yeah, like the formats are just really unenjoyable, and especially when you stack them up against what's happening in the LPL and the LCK versus what we have over in the West. I think it just makes that contrast even larger. And the other point, which is escaping me now because I'm a little sleep deprived, is what do you call it? Just the fact that with the splits have been, or like we've been put into the 3-split system, and I feel like Riot overall wanted a lot of uniform in general out of a lot of the regions. But the one thing that we're not getting the same of in each region basically is the format. And I'd at least kind of expect it, let's say, between the LEC and the LCK, because it's like two 10-team leagues. So you would want to see some mirroring there, in my opinion, out of the format. And yes,
LEC?
Oh yeah, sorry, LEC and LCK, because there's 10 teams in both those leagues. And obviously, my fault.
Good.
And yes, obviously the LCK plays 5 days a week. The LEC only plays 3. But figure it out. Just I don't know. Just figure it out. That's not my job. The logistics part there. LPL can do its own thing with 16/17 teams, and LTA is 8. But you could still very easily, in my opinion, mirror that format. I just feel like this, version of having the best teams play the best teams, and having the bad teams play the bad teams, is to me, the strongest format that we have right now, if we're going to be in free splits throughout the year. And I think we need to see more of it.
Experimental, regular, into this. Let's get the hype matches and the bad matches and see if we can get a DRX type run in there, or a top esports type run as well, kind of in there with one of those lower teams. But otherwise, it when I think about why they wouldn't do that, maybe you would be damaging the brand of those Rise group or Nirvana group teams if you were like the last place of the last place.
All I gotta say is those teams don't contribute anything to the brands of any of the leagues. Like the Rogues, the fucking, like when Immortals was in LCS, like DNF, DRX, like these don't contribute to the product at all. So like, in my opinion, if you're not contributing to the product, get the fuck out. Like, then you deserve to at least have this happen. And hey, if you want to be, in the upper group, like then your team needs to improve. Then your team needs to play fucking better. And if they play better, then they can have that opportunity. But I mean, it just is what it is. It's like the teams at the top are the ones that make the franchising worth it for the entire league. I mean, it's not worth it, but you know what I mean? Like they're the ones that carry the entire leagues anyway, in every single region, because teams are, viewers like teams that win. Viewers like teams that are good. So yeah, just is what it is. And I don't know. I've been anti like these rogue teams, these Immortals teams. I mean, a lot of these teams, they just feel like leeches on the rest of the groups. So I'm just hoping we get some changes in the future. I think this 3 split system, I think there's a lot of viewer fatigue. You can see it across every league. Like people are just not really enjoying the games the way that they were before. And I think it makes sense. I don't think that it's a viewership problem. I think that a lot of the viewers just, they're tired of it. They want something else. They want something that's a little bit more spicy if they're going to be investing their time. And now everyone knows how these leagues work, and people have already essentially realized, like a lot of fans have just said, fuck it, I'll just watch playoffs. Like why do I need to watch all these games where they don't even know what the fucking format is, the pick and play? Like they're like, wait, so these teams pick, but it's based on, like, the fact that I needed to make an 8-minute video explaining the format is damning enough. If it takes you 8 minutes to explain how a format works, then clearly the format is way too convoluted for the average fan. Because I mean, even players don't really know how this works. I bet you if you quizzed, if before I made this video, or like, let's say like 2 weeks ago, you quizzed players on what the format was, they would get some portion of it wrong. Like even myself, even while competing, when I saw the pick and play and it was like, oh, lower teams pick teams that are above them, I thought that was in terms of match score. I didn't realize that was in terms of game score. Like that's a game score thing that they're going to pick teams. Yeah. So like if you're 1-4, then a team that's 0-4 can pick you, even if you're both 0-2 in your, which is what happened with Disguised and Dignitas, right? Even though they're both 0-2, Disguised won 1 game against Shopify, so they got picked by Dignitas. Like that to me didn't make sense. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that to be a thing. So yeah, man, it's fucking weird. Like it is just really fucking weird. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah. To specify viewer fatigue though, for LCK, the top match has been, because there was fear. I remember there used to be fear that you would burn out the audience of the rivalry. The top 4 matches in the LCK: T1 versus Gen G week 1, T1 versus Gen G week 7, T1 versus Gen G week 10, T1 versus Gen G week 12. And then the last one is T1 versus Hanwha, and then after that is Hanwha Gen G. So it's like they want to see the best teams. And to your point, that means the other teams have to get good. Maybe it does create like a longer term issue where like, oh, the rich just keep getting richer because they get all the viewership. So therefore they're able to sell the sponsors. And, we get 8,000 people watching Disguised or whatever. It's like, that's on you on the off season to get more wins per dollar and, get the GM that can do that. And make those moves in the off season. It's not in the middle of the season, it's in the off season to do that. So just something that we thought of and brought up because it is kind of a couple of matches in this league and a couple of matches in this league, kind of dispersed where your focus and eyes go to. All right. Well, that was our opener. Let's hop on into one of our topics. But before we do, it's time to remind you about the friends that make the show go. And this is a new friend joining us. These are our friends over at Drip Drop. Now, you've probably heard how important electrolytes are, but many electrolyte powders on the market either don't taste good or don't work as well as they claim to. But that's where our friends over at Drip Drop come on in. It's a science-backed formula. It works fast and tastes better than other electrolyte drinks on the market. Drip Drop is doctor-developed, proven fast hydration, and it delivers 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar as the leading sports drink, where you can feel the difference fast. Less fatigue, more focus, no more midday crash. And over 90% of top pro teams and college teams trust the hydration formula of Drip Drop alongside firefighters and medical professionals. And I'm in Korea, so I haven't had the chance to use it, but we do have one person here who can testify to not only the efficacy, but the taste as well. That'd be Dom.
Yeah, so it's been nice to try it. I've got a package myself. I've been enjoying it. They have a bunch of different flavors that are pretty good. My favorite personally is the cherry limeade flavor. Like, I kind of like a little bit of the sweetness mixed with some of the sour. I find that to be the most enjoyable. So I've been trying it for a couple of days now. I just got it recently. The amount of energy I feel throughout the day is better, so I will advocate for that, and we'll have to see how it goes when I try more of them. I think there's about like 5 or 6 different flavors, so I've only tried a few of them so far, but the cherry limeade is pretty good. So that's what we've been going with. So yeah, thank you, Drip Drop.
Yeah, the 0 sugar flavors. There's 16 others as well. So a bunch for you to try. You can join us on this journey because right now Drip Drop is offering our podcast listeners 20% off your first order by heading on over to dripdrop.com and using the promo code LFN. That's dripdrop.com with the promo code LFN for 20% off. Stock up now before the heat hits hard, and it's definitely hitting hard. Dripdrop.com. Using the code LFN, 20% off your first order, thanks to our new friends over at Drip Drop. All right, let's get into it. We have 2 regions that are using formats that are pretty nice, where we get to see a lot of the teams grow and fall despite what they've done earlier in the year. That is over at LPL right now. They've looked pretty good. So let's start there with them. Let's go high key, low key, no key, as we are midway through the summer split over at the LPL with some of your top contenders to win it all. High key, low key, or no key. I've got a couple of team names for you, so we'll jump into it right now. All right. Let's start with the reigning champs of the LPL. Anyone Legend, formerly known as AGAL over at Esports World Cup. Anyone Legend is middle of the table. They are 2-4, tied with JDG, who will also be named, and only 1 game in front of WE and FPX. They are 2 loss streak. So 2 losses, 2 wins, 2 losses. How do you see them? Are they a high key, low key, or no key team? Jamada, let's start with you.
Oh man, I was hoping you'd start with Dom. Like, Dom's our liaison almost. I mean, look, I will apprehensively still say high key. At the end of the day, I feel like what I'm seeing just looks a little bit like MSI, like traditional post MSI burnout. I do have my concerns around, like everything seems to kind of be faltering since they've come back to China. I haven't liked their drafts as consistently as I was over the course of MSI and honestly throughout a lot of the year. Gameplay wise, in terms of like, I think what's normally like their bread and butter of how they approach team fights and objectives has been significantly worse. I think individually, I'd probably point towards Kyle, who also, I think, in fairness, did have a shaky MSI in general. as someone who's also kind of continued specifically to kind of underperform. So for me, whilst they are struggling, I still feel like I have a lot of faith in them to bounce back. And when I think about teams that like team cycles in terms of performance anyway, you do occasionally go through slumps. And I feel like, to me, this is AL going through that slump where, when was the last time they had a fucking break? Like March, maybe? Like this is a very, very long stretch of time where they've been traveling, playing. So I still have faith in their ability, because when I look at the rest of the top of the table, I'm actually not as convinced. I feel like AL have done more to maintain faith in me that this is just a period of time where, look, we can underperform as long as we play well enough to get the kind of seeding we want in playoffs. We hit playoffs and then we're, kind of back to normal. So I'm happy to actually place them in high key, despite the 2 and 4 performances, despite the stranger than usual like draft habits and patterns, and like the gameplay. When I look at the rest of the table, man, I'm not so convinced that you'll get that out of me with my Loki and Noki votes. But for high key, I'm actually still willing to put AL there, despite the 2 and 4 start to summer.
All right, I like that. I had a long form interview coming out with Arnold. I did that today. And he's like, Gen G, we're not going to be a light switch team. Jamada said, high key light switch team right now. 2 and 4, they'll figure it out when playoff starts. Dom, what do you got?
I'm gonna go Loki, but a very low Loki, because they have been so disgustingly bad recently that it's like it's actually triggering to watch them play, and it's almost like I wish I wasn't watching them play so I could just maintain the illusion that they're gonna just be good no matter what. Like that's what I would like to do, but they have been so fucking bad. Like I don't know if people understand how bad they've been. They're currently getting like they got just right now as we're doing the show. I was watching while we were prepping game number 1. And their game number 1 against fucking FPX, they got completely fisted. Like, completely. Like, it wasn't even close. And to me, it's like, okay, at some point, we have to win some games against someone. We can't just lose to everyone all the time. Surely, right? But they're trying. I mean, they are really trying to lose to everyone all the time. So, I mean, we'll see. I hope that they get their shit together. But right now, it's looking like so bad. And I mean, the thing that's crazy about them is they used to have like, some shaky fights, whatever. But when they would win, when they would be in like a winning position, they wouldn't massively throw the game. But they have been like mega throwing recently. Like every Otacon, I mean, you can just forfeit the game when Otacon spawns, honestly. Just forfeit the fucking game when Otacon spawns, because it's been so bad. They threw 4K leads like nothing. They did it to Top Esports, I believe. Yeah, I mean, they also had bad Otacons versus Weibo. They had just terrible Otacons throughout, and it just feels very tough to watch them. It feels very, very hard to watch them play. So I'm hoping they get shit together, because right now they're making me extremely nervous for Worlds.
Yeah, remember, 1 game away against T1 over at MSI, 1 game away against Gen G over at EWC. Like, this is a team that was there twice and shown they had staying power. The other team that comes to mind is BLG, but they've had their roster issues. So you're thinking, okay, we've got a new team from LPL to hold up the mantle, and right now struggling against FPX, 0-2'd against IG in the most recent outing. So we'll keep tabs on them. Speaking of that team, let's get into BLG. BLG. Shadow in. Let's just buy another jungler. Stick them in. That was the whole topic coming into this summer split. But it seems like it's working. 5-0, the final undefeated team in the Ascend group. Dom, where you got them? High key, low key, no key.
I'm high key on BLG. I actually think that they're pretty good, and I think Shadow's been playing really well. I mean, they have the same issues. They still throw randomly. They do standard BLG stuff that they've been doing for the longest time. But as far as what my expectations were for the roster and how they're playing, I'm excited for them. I think that they're doing much better than they were, specifically with having a new jungler like Beichuan. Always looked a little bit off, but it feels like Shadow is very confident within the team and he's giving them the direction that they need. So I personally am high key on them. I don't think that they're gonna like win worlds or anything, but I think that they're looking like they can win LPL. Where before I've felt like AL was gonna be the ones that were dominating. But BLG, I mean, they looked good versus top. They're playing some different strategies that they used to. Look good versus top. Look good for AL. I mean, they've essentially just ran the top of the table in LPL, and you know they're players that I've always respected. So when they get their shit together, I'm normally excited for BLG.
How about you, Jamada? You going back on the hype train?
How we working with this? Can I high key them as well?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to? Yeah, cool. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll be the first to say, like when we did our episode, it was I think you said 10 days ago, right? I know keyed Shadow because at the end of the day, I don't feel like he is going to magically fix the rest of their problems. And I don't think that read has been incorrect per se, right? We've still seen them have a lot of their like traditional BLG, like random bullshit going on in their games that they can easily avoid. But they, to quote Dom directly, what did he say? They have been running the top of the table. So for all intents and purposes right now, I'll trust them a lot more to win the league than, say, Top Esports, which we'll probably talk about in a couple of minutes anyway, because they did it all of last year, right? This team is still mechanically, I don't think it's unfair to say mechanically the best team in the league, right? Like, so between solo lanes and bottom lane, they kind of are. So, to me, BLG, when they're firing on all cylinders, they really fire on all cylinders, and they do tend to leave the rest of the pack behind. And they haven't dropped the series. They dropped one individual game to JDG, which, off the top of my head, I can't even remember how it unfolded because JDG have just looked like. So yeah, even that just seems like a bit of an outlier game almost. And BLG look, at the very least for the time being, scary again, which is something that I feel like we haven't been able to consistently say outside of very small stretches of time this year.
I think the hardest part about the whole jungler issue with BLG was how it was affecting everyone else. It felt like On was not on most of the time. He was, you know, his Twitch nickname off most of the time, and it feels like now they're getting things together again. Seems exciting to see this I guess flag bearer of the LPL back on in. Let's move on to the current flag bearer of the LPL. It was the big matchup from last week. It was BLG versus Top Esports. Domestic Doran, but in LPL league form, LPL team form. Top Esports and LPL regular season, they go match made in heaven. Are you ready to trust? Are we in there? Do we trust them, Jamada?
Hell no. And I don't think I ever will. I don't look unless the rest of the field drops fucking dead. You will never catch me fully believing in Top Esports to, you know, really run the league. And even at 6-1, like the eye test. Just if you watch highlights, there is just something. There is some serious juju about this team, which just. It never allows them to look clean. I don't know what else to say. They're 6-1 now. If you run the gauntlet again, but like you make it best of 5 and you make them play BLG, IG, and I guess who's 4th place right now?
Weibo,
right?
Yeah.
It's 50-50. Like the game score will be close. They might claw it in series, right? Like pretty positively, but you watch those games. You watch how close they are. You watch them throw 3, 4, 5k gold leads because, like, you know, old Jackie Love wants to turn back up, or, you know, for whatever reason, Top Esports thought it would be a good idea to give Cream Azir in a game where it's not really an Azir game. You know, like there will be random things about Top Esports that will never fail to just show up and do the thing. So to me, I just can't trust them. I can't do it. I will low-key them, and I almost, frankly, kind of want to no-key them, even though they're running at the front right now, just because they hurt me, and they hurt too many LPL fans year on year when it comes to the international. I know we're focusing here on the domestic side of things, but I'm still gonna low-key them just because I don't have as much faith as them in a strong performing BLG or even an AL who. Yes, obviously they're going through a rougher time now, but I think have just continually showed a higher ceiling, whether it obviously be at MSI where they get to show the higher ceiling even further, or just straight up domestically.
Well, I mean, we are talking domestic results, but it's with international in mind. Like, so I don't think, you could definitely keep it in consideration when you're putting them in your ranking. So, what do you got, Dom?
I'm no key for top esports forever. Like, I hate this team. Even when they win, like, they just do the most disgusting things possible. I mean, you watch a game where Jackie Love is like, he 2v2 kills them at level 2. It's like, oh my god, great game. Then they just die like in that same lane, purely 2v2 on the bounce back. And then you just see him holding summoners and dying a million times on Corki, and it's like, what the fuck is the fucking point, man? I think they actually killed him at level 1, by the way. They solo kill at level 1, and then by level 3, they're just losing the same lane. And then every single play that they make just looks so ugly. So, I mean, Kanavi is just completely up and down at this point. He used to be a super consistent player. You know, he was one of the best, most consistent players in the LPL for a long period of time. And yeah, he's completely up and down now. I mean, he, in the middle of this series that they ended up winning, he dropped like a fucking like 1-9 Xin game, or like a 0-9 Xin game just in the middle of the series. And it's just like, the only player I trust is 369. It's the only player on this team that I trust. Yeah. So I just don't think they're good. You know, if they're the ones that end up winning LPL is doomed at Worlds. I mean, I think LPL is probably not winning Worlds almost no matter what, I would say at this point. I think T1 and Gen.G just look too strong. And none of the LPL teams feel like they're progressing and they're in a good form. So, yeah. I'm just not a big fan of the way top esports play the game. Doesn't look consistent. Doesn't look like they're getting much better. I mean, they did dominate regular season last split, and they lost to WE in best of fives. I don't really trust them in Fearless either. So, is what it is. I don't see anything that is making me think, wow, they've really elevated their game. Like, if they're coming out and they stomped and they looked mega consistent, and that was their 5-0 before they ended up losing, obviously, to BLG. But if that was their 5-0 or 4-0 or whatever it was, no, it was 5-0. If that was their 5-0, I would be down. But that is just not how it looks, right? That is just not the 5-0 that we got. We got the ugly 5-0, the disgusting 5-0. And yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
I like that you brought up game score here, Jamada. I thought that was a really good point when it came to top esports. They are 12-6 in game score. They are, they have that one game in hand above BLG, but their 66% win rate is less than third place IG. IG has a 69 win rate. So when they've won, it's been 2-0s, and when they've lost, it's been 2-1s, except to FPX, who are in last place in this group and only have one win. So where do you see IG? IG is the team to me who, man, we just want to see him get there. We want to see crazy ass Shy at Worlds. We want to see crazy ass Rookie get to finally shine back at Worlds again. And it just feels like whatever playoff nightmare happens to him, and they, Rookie has another playoff heartbreak and can't get to an international event. Do you see it as a low key? This team could do it here, Jamada?
Okay. Do I think they can win the league?
Yeah.
No.
They're in position. All right.
No. But I think, if I may take our little segment lightly out of context of, I think the goal for IG, at least from my understanding, is more about making it to internationals of this lineup than it is per se about win. Obviously, like, every team wants to win. Duh, it's competition. But that to me feels like the grander goal of this IG lineup. And in that regard, I would almost high key them, but I'll low key them. I feel like the way that the league is set up right now, in terms of AL is struggling, right? Even though I still have faith in their ability to bounce back. Weibo, I have less faith in this iteration of Weibo than I do the last 2 years of Weibo, where, obviously they've made it to top 8s and such. This time around, though, I don't know. There's just something that irks me about this version of Weibo compared to the others. They don't have the same source, it feels like, of just showing up and doing the funny thing where they're the clear underdog and then they just win. That felt like that was the kind of the nature of Weibo throughout the last 2 years. I don't see them doing it as much this year. BLG and Top Esports obviously inhabit the other 2 top spots, and at the end of the day, there's 4 seeds up for grabs to make it to Worlds. So I could very well see, excuse me, I could very well see IG at the very least making top 3 here. Making it to Worlds. Low key for winning the league though, because at the end of the day, I just feel like the Shy will still do stupid shit to lose individual games. And it's just about when those games happen. Like, is it game 4? Or sorry, is it game 5, a best of 5? Is it game 1? Same thing for the best of 3s. Like, is it in the important best of 3 that's gonna like lock them in for top 4 for the better seed? That's really the timing that the Shy has got to work on when it comes to having those random int games. But otherwise, honestly, since Wei has come in, whilst I have my thoughts and feelings on Wei, I feel as though they at the very least seem to get on a little bit more as a team holistically with Wei in than with JJ so far. So I'll give them a low key on winning the league, but that'll be close to almost no key. I'll give them a high key on making it to Worlds, basically.
I like how you're not saying, oh, this is what he has to work with in terms of peaking. It's about this is what he has to work with in terms of valleying. Don't valley right here. Dom, what do you got here for IG?
So they're a really weird team because IG, their individual play and like the way that they like execute things, their execution is generally pretty fucking bad. But their setups and their macro is actually good. Like, they fight the right objectives generally at the right timings on the right items. They position for the fights pretty well. They understand what they should be doing. But then like their mechanics are all over the place. Like, Wei does some of the most disgusting things known to man. Like, his team fighting on Poppy is an eyesore, right? Like, if this guy plays Poppy, you're gonna lose. So yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where they randomly have good macro, but I just feel like if any other team is in form, if Top Esports is in form, or AL is in form, or BLG is in form, just individually they are going to get clapped. And yeah, I just don't trust them.
Boom. There you have it. Finally, were there any other teams? We'll throw other. I guess Weibo is there. You have EDG, who's the top of the group. Who else? There's one more team. NIP, who are 5-1 over at Nirvana on the opposite side. They are worse, theoretically. I mean, not theoretically, proven worse from last split. Is there another team that you think could make a run here? And either, well, I don't think they can win a title, but make it to top 4 and make it to Worlds that you'd be low-key excited about. Dom?
No. There's zero. I mean, like, WE, I've always kind of liked them because they're fun, but I don't think they can make it. I mean, they could make it to Worlds. I shouldn't say they can't make it to Worlds. But they just look like they're playing a little bit worse than last split, and especially like how the meta seems to be changing. Like, if you look at what the next patches are, it's like they're trying to bring back the AP junglers, trying to bring back Brand, Zyra, these types of champs, and remove kind of the jungle meta from Monkey that he's really popularized and done well on. So overall, I just don't really think it's going to end up being a good situation for them when they're going, if they have to play differently. I mean, obviously, maybe this doesn't end up changing things, but it seems like the intention is to make like Nautilus jungle and Brand and Zyra good again. And that just doesn't seem like that would be FPX playstyle. You know, like Monkey is the guy that likes going for psycho ganks and things like that. Yunara is also something that I don't think fits well into how, when I watch Taeyun, how he wants to play the game. I think the things he's been thriving at this split or this year have been Corki, Ezreal, Kaisa, these types of picks that have mobility that allow him to like join in these crazy fights. Whereas if you're playing Yunara and tanks and mage junglers that can't make as many plays and you have to play front to back and control space, like I just don't think that will be a good that'll be a good look for them. So I think it'll be really hard for them to play well if that ends up being the meta. And that's what it's looking like is probably going to happen. And then when you look deeper into their team, it's like a lot of the things are just not working as well as they were before. I think Karras is having a worse split than he was. They were essentially only winning on Sion for the longest time up until they had this recent match versus WE or versus FPX. And yeah, I mean, I just think that they are outmatched by the other teams. I feel like the magic is kind of worn off a bit. So to me, I don't expect much out of them. Then FPX, I don't expect anything from them. So I really think, and JDG is maybe like a team that could get in the mix if everything works well, but I just don't think that they have the player level. We'll see what ends up happening. Maybe if Wink is actually replaced by Missing, maybe they can do something. I would say EDG, I don't think they can make Worlds, but I do actually think they're playing a lot better than they were before. I think if EDG was in the upper group, I think they could probably have they could be like a 2-4. They could get some wins. They're similar to IG where it feels like they play some things poorly, but mechanically, or they play things poorly mechanically, but the way that they set up for things makes a lot of sense, which I respect personally. So yeah, kind of just my viewpoint on them.
Yeah.
Could I quickly just hammer on the JDG lineup too? Because I actually think with some of the potential meta changes that might come in with, or likely will come in with, like the Nautilus and some of the AP junglers. I feel like, obviously, yeah, I agree on the Wink missing point too when it comes to that lineup. But I feel like Shun's strength last year and like of years gone by was a lot of the time as AP junglers. And then when you look at Scout, when he was spending his time on LNG, normally he was on setup, and that was kind of what made him look better when he was the catalyst for plays in those lineups. So if we do end up in that meta for like the back end of summer and things line up well, I actually think those changes do help JDG systematically. It's just about whether mechanically they do end up stepping up. So I just want to highlight that because obviously I mean throughout the year I've been kind of not so secret JG sport. I feel like the first iteration of the roster from the start of the year should have kind of been our third best team at the floor, maybe even fourth worst case. And obviously they've been underperforming throughout. So yeah, I feel like JDG, if those changes come in and maybe they adapt well to them, some life might return. But I just feel like that team looks so broken fundamentally just too much of the time. And if comps aren't easy to play, they just fall. And that's kind of the issue, is if you have to start playing AP junglers, then a lot of the time you have to rely a lot more on your mechanics and your laning fundamentals, and games tend to be a little bit slower. And I don't know if those kind of game states necessarily benefit JDG, but I think that like the meta changes that might happen off of those jungle changes do. So I think that'll be a really interesting thing to track with JDG once we hit next patch or so.
I like how you bring that up, just because it does feel like that original roster with Ale and Missing is like just free agents. That just seems crazy. It seems crazy that didn't work out. Why would Missing come back? Why?
Because Wink is terrible.
Wink is bad. There's not really much else an argument. Like Wink is just playing bad. Wink is not good.
The problem with JDG is like two of the main three people that you have setting up most fights in this meta are mid lane and support, right? And neither of them are good at engaging. Scout right now, you can't trust him on Annie. You can't trust him on like Talia to get good walls and make good fights happen. So that's an issue. And then on the other side of things, it's like, okay, what else do you have? Oh, you have your mid laner or your support that has all the engage tools, and he doesn't find good angles. So how the fuck are you supposed to fight? Like, how are you supposed to get winning fights when like half your team can't play the fucking game? You know?
Yeah.
It's too messed up. So I'm just not a fan of any team where they look so ugly in fights, because you're just kind of giving Pays the most like shitty setup known to man. You're like, good luck, bro. Hopefully you can do something. Hopefully you can fight this. Go win this shit.
I guess the reason I brought that up is I'm looking at supports in the ranking positions above them. So AL's Kyle, and then you have Crisp at Weibo. You have Mako and Gala over at IG. You have On and Elk, obviously, and then Hong and Jackie Love. Like, I guess where else would Missing go? That if you're like a plug and play guy, this is the last signing that you can make before you go to Worlds, both for a team that needs someone and someone who's on the outside looking in that maybe will come in on a team-friendly contract to try to jumpstart to make it a Worlds. Like, these are two top free agents, theoretically, whose best spot might be back on the same team. So,
yeah, I mean, I think that it's like a team where he just existed on this team for a long period of time, and it's one of those things where you might not know how good you had it until it's gone. And
damn.
Yeah, you see what like Wink's doing, and you're like, holy fuck, that missing guy was pretty fucking good, actually. Holy shit. Maybe we can deal with some of those Recon games. Like, he can go 0-9 every now and then. I'm down with that. Like, yeah, I mean, he deserves to go fucking 0-9. Like, if his teammates are fucking, if the alternative is playing with Wink and watching Wink just miss everything all the time, 0-9 sounds really fucking good, actually. At least he's doing something. You know, look, as a player, you have to think like this. Even if you will still lose with missing will make you play it look better in the eyes of the fans, because he's going to run it down so egregiously hard himself that no one will flame you for anything you've done. So you can just have the cop out where you really push for missing just so that you can get a contract next year. It's like, it wasn't my fault, bro. I had missing and Wink.
What do you want me to do?
Missing runs it down really, like, obviously, where Wink runs it down in ways that are really bad, but it's not as egregious to the naked eye, I would say.
Boom. There you have it. That has been our high key, low key, no key over at the LPL. Good catch up here with, I think 4 more weeks left before we head on over to playoffs. 3 more weeks left before we head on over to playoffs for the LPL. Quick update. It's still close, but I think AL are going to pull away with this game. So we'll keep you updated if game 3 ends up finishing off here between AL and FPX. Missing coming back to JDG is a pretty good callback. You know, it's like it's one of your favorites coming back. But
yeah. I mean, it's also a rumor. Like, it's not like we're just making this up. Like, this is a rumor that people have been talking about. So
I trust you being plugged in, man.
I mean, the rumor was by the same guy that I think leaked the roster moves, and this guy's like insane accuracy. He said like a week ago that Missing was already back with the team, and that like he hasn't played yet. So who knows?
Yeah. All right, let's move on over to our next segment. Before we do, it's time to remind you about our friends over at Raycon. This message is sponsored by Raycon. Don't you love it when one of your favorites come back together, just like Missing might possibly be coming back with JDG? Well, this July, guess who's back and better than ever? It's Raycon's fan favorite, everyday earbud classic, now packing active noise cancellation. The latest version of the everyday earbud classic by Raycon now features active noise cancellation, which was the one thing they were missing. Their audio quality rivals all the big audio brands you know and love at half the price. But if you don't believe me, check out their tens of thousands of 5-star reviews. You heard us talk about our Raycons. Again, they've changed the way that I commute. I always have them on with me. Thanks to our friends over at Raycon. The colors have been on point. Multiple different. When I lost mine earlier in the year on the way to the airport, I used the code, ordered another one because they are that good. And Icon returns. Get yours today with free shipping on every pair of Raycon earbuds. Head on over to buyraycon.com/powerspike to get 20% off the fan favorite everyday earbuds classic. Right now, Raycon is offering 20% off their everyday earbuds classic over at buyraycon.com/powerspike. That's buyraycon.com/powerspike, sponsored by Raycon. Thanks to our friends over at Raycon. All right. Next on up, we got a little keep or kick. And for all of you gusts out there, greatest of sometimes, it was like the first time. It was a long-awaited debut of the Poby over in the LEC. Fnatic Poby showing up, had a pretty good showing. People in interviews saying, maybe like a top half. So we're going to set it to top 3. by the end of the LEC regular season, will Poby be a top 3 mid laner? Keep or kick? Wait, you gotta wait.
No.
Keep or kick? We're going to it. Fly the graphic. Fly the graphic.
Fly the graphic. Go.
All right, Tom, you go first.
Yes, he will be. All right, your turn, Jamada.
I thought you was because I kind of just feel like the pool in mid in Europe is pretty bad right now. Like three is actually not that high a bar.
Okay, who's he going to be better than? Who's he going to be better than? Vladdy, Jojo, Caps. Which one of those 3 is he going to be better than?
Yeah, which fan base you pissing off?
Jojo.
Okay, I can see that.
Jojo, and I've not been high on Jojo anyway throughout the year, so this is an easy answer for me regardless. Yeah. I feel like the only thing that Jojo has going for him is the fact that he's North American and in Europe. And then that one interview... Yeah, whatever. And then the that one interview from Knight, where Knight was like, yeah, I had to sit up a little bit when I laned versus him. But otherwise, he was just like any other mid laner.
I gotta say, like, the most shit version of BLG that got 6-0'd by any respectable team, still 3-1 Koi. Like, that's bro. Like, that was like the most horrible, like Beijuan knows he's benched. He's just mega depressed in the games. They can't even like almost win a game versus a fucking top team. And Koi is like, you know, honestly, we almost had them. Like, if we could have won one more game and got into game 5, then we might have had a chance. That's what we were dealing with, bro.
So I think the greatest sometimes should be able to break top 3. I don't think that's a hard ask. I just feel like the pool is quite poor, and our like typical strong performers aren't necessarily playing as well, with basically the exception of Caps. Like, Caps is the only one to me that is kind of remaining consistent, all in all. And yeah, I feel like his debut's only been against it was Camilo and SK was the other series, right? So that'll be Abadage.
Yeah, I mean, he played the literal worst mid laners in the entire league.
Yeah. I was about to say, like, you know, he didn't look bad versus those guys. So I think that's at the very least a good entry bar to go by. So top 3, yeah, I feel like top 3. If this is like, you know, if anyone's done like any kind of sports career mode, like sports game career mode, and it's like you have expectations to like meet to get additional payments. I feel like in Poby's contract, like being top 3 by eye test or like statistical, it just should be there. So yeah, I don't think it's a hard ask. I think when you look at the mid pool right now, in Europe, a lot of the pool is either underperforming or just doesn't look good, period. And I think you could even make an argument for top 2, like just as second place, this split. I don't think it's that outrageous.
Next to who? Next to Caps?
Well, Caps would be first. And I'm not, look, what I'm not saying is that Poby would be contesting first place.
You're just pissing everyone off.
Look, what I'm not saying is that he'll be contesting first place.
This guy beat SK. He beat
SK? Vladdy, you're out. The like, French, we don't like you. MCoy, we don't like you either. Jojo, you're accepted. Hermano, no more. It's the ghost. Me don't sing. Joy don't sing.
This is a mental take.
Putan y coño. All right,
Poby's gonna be top 2. How shit do you think your region is? That's the real question. How disgustingly shit do you think your region is?
Tom, terrible.
Okay,
like,
all right.
If it wasn't for the passport that I have, like we are the worst region in the world. Dom.
Okay.
Like,
no, I mean, fair. I mean, that's literally like, the argument. The argument you're making is less about Poby. It's more that you just think
it's more about the region.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, all right. I got it. I got it. I can accept
this. Is where I really this is where I'm coming from. Like, I'm being dead serious. So right. that's to me why I feel like it's not like completely outrageous to say. If Vladdy picks his shit back up, fine. Vladdy and Caps will have their Goku Vegeta bow for top 2 mids again. And then Poby will probably be comfortably B3. But I do feel like top 3, that is the realistic bar for Poby to hop over.
I don't think he'll be top 3. He didn't even look that great. I mean, his laning is fine, but I think it's going to be the same thing where, like, Fnatic, when I think about what is going to make somebody look top 3, it's not playing on fucking Fnatic. That's for sure. Like, because Fnatic is like a team where you're just on your own. It's like you're gonna lane well, and then fucking Razor's gonna start some random fight in some random location, and you're just gonna have to decide if that's actually playable or not, or whether you should let him die. And if you make the wrong decision, you're cooked. The whole game is fucking over, right? So I don't know. To me, I just think that Poby is just, it's not an environment that's conducive to an import playing well. Right now, it's just too much randomness. I mean, Oscar plays bad like every third game. He'll just like run down every third game. Elyoya just runs Razork every single time they play against themselves. Yike has kind of been doing the same thing. It feels like Razork used to be the guy who like looked like the best jungler, and then he would kind of choke at final moments. But now it just looks like the rest of the table runs him. So when you end up in a situation where you're gonna have to play those fucking teams to be top 3, you're gonna be playing not only versus other people that might be better than you, you're going to be playing against people that might be better than you in a game that feels uncomfortable. Like they're going to play some fucking ugly games, you know? I just don't trust it. I don't trust it at all. I think it's going to be a horror.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it fixes anything. It just feels like now there's someone else answering Razork's questions, and his questions are disengaged, questionable, engage. You know, is it a good? Is it a bad? Well, we're contracted to continue to talk about the LEC for a little bit longer, so let's do that. Mm-hmm. When we look at week 1, we got to see 2 times KC, 2 times Fnatic. We touched on Fnatic, so let's talk about KC a little bit. They go 2-0 and 2-1. And in that 2-0, Dom, it was against Navi. So what were your thoughts in that series?
The Navi one?
Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, Navi, honestly, they played a little bit better than before. I mean, at least now they're still bad, but they're like aggressively running it down almost. So the games are shorter, which I think is a huge positive for everyone. But I mean, they're just uninteresting at this point to me. Like, I'm done with the fucking experiment. Also, I don't know. Did you see the jungler drama on Twitter? That shit was kind of hype. So the jungler, yeah. I mean, so pretty much like on Navi. So wait, hold on. Let me see if I can find the tweet real quick. Hold on.
Tiger.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find the tweet. So apparently, what happened was when their current jungler signed Tiger, he already knows that he's going to be replaced no matter what after the season. He already tweeted about it. And he's like, it's kind of weird to be on a team and just have no clue. Well, just know that you're guaranteed replaced no matter what happens. Like, that's what he ended up saying. So yeah, I mean, that's what he's tweeting. And it looks like that is actually going to be the case no matter what. So not only are you in a situation where your team is fucking bad, but you can't even like fully commit. Like, it just feels fucking awkward to even play. So I'm interested to see how this all goes. I mean, normally that's not what you want to hear out of your boys, right? You want to hear like, oh shit, yeah, I mean, this guy has zero confidence and the team is already bad to begin with. Kind of crazy.
I don't know, man. It worked out pretty okay for Yike.
Yeah, but that was like, I mean, what do you mean, like the at Worlds thing?
No, yeah, I mean, you know, wins afterwards with KC, but yeah. I meant during the Worlds thing.
No, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. It's one of those things where I just feel like it can't. You're already in a bad situation. It can't feel fucking good.
Yeah. Jamada, KC took care of business. Business as usual.
Business as usual. I mean, more or less, they don't really seem like they've improved between spring and summer. Is at least my read off of
they're never going to improve.
Game, and
How can they improve? They can't improve. Like, it's impossible to improve. You have new players coming in. You have somebody fucking role swapping, and your team was already dog shit to begin with. It's impossible to improve. Like, if a new AD carry, maybe that guy carries the whole fucking game. That's all you can hope for.
Oh. We was talking about KC. Are you angry about Navi?
Yes, yeah.
We were talking about Navi.
Golly.
Navi?
No,
I was like,
I was like,
I thought we were talking about KC versus or Navi versus KC.
No. Look, you know what? It feels like Dom's taken my chair of like the rogue hate train this time around. Yeah, I mean, as I was saying though, I just feel like they haven't really changed that much in terms of how they prioritize pretty much everything, whether it be draft, for who gets what, whether it's like in game in terms of like Kalist. Still see Kalist do the Kalist thing from time to time of looking a little bit too aggressive and wanting to get himself caught out a bit on mid wave. So I don't know. It seems as though, and this is a trend with a lot of teams, there are pretty clear and defined issues that don't seem to get worked on a lot across the world. So I feel like KC will still be, just because of the way the LEC sits right now, one of our top teams, no doubt. We just have to kind of see how they end up looking against G2, against Koi, and that's at the very least where you'll get to see a little bit more candidly where improvement has happened, if it has at all. But my eye test of the GX and the Na'Vi series is that it's not really been present or happening much.
I mean,
all right,
their whole dynamic is really weird on KC. It's a very weird dynamic. Like the did you hear like the interview that Kalist had? There was like a cryptic interview. It's like he talked about like, oh, there were some problems in the team, but we can't really say what they were. And he's the one that leaked that Nisqy is going to be like a sixth man. Like he's actually getting some scrim games. Like he might actually play, which seems really weird because Vladdy was like the best player in the league in winter, right? He was the best player at LEC in winter. Yeah. Insane level. Goes to first stand. Insane performance at first stand, I would say. Looks like one of the best mids in the world. You know, obviously good on control mages, not so good on the other picks, but all of spring seemed like that was the idea was, okay, we need to get better at Akali. We need to get better at Silas. This is what Zika's picking. Zika's the best in the world. That's the guy that beat them, and they're really influenced by that. And then to hear that like Nisqy is being picked up as a sub, like I think Nisqy can play in the LEC. I just don't think it makes sense for him to play on KC. I think Nisqy plays on a team that has a very unstable jungler. Like I actually wouldn't mind Nisqy playing with somebody like Razork. You know, I think that that's something where it's like, okay, this guy is going to fucking fight all the time. He's going to put you in bad situations. So you need the guy to just like be able to understand when the int is coming and protect against it.
He's the fixer. He's the fixer.
I mean, that was always his archetype. And I think that he does it well. And I think that that's a useful archetype of player to have. You know, like some players play well. I mean, obviously Faker is significantly better at this, but that is Faker's archetype at this point in his career. Like he has the ability to play, you know, the Azir, even though he plays Azir as a playmaker, he has the ability to play Victor and stuff like that because he's just so experienced that he understands what he needs to do in this game. But when Faker looks the best to me, it's like when he's playing the Galio and stuff like this, and he's able to move around the map and he's able to make a lot of plays. Like Rise, for example, right now is something that Faker started to play a lot more of, and you're seeing the value that it has for T1 as a team because he just finds angles, right? And he just knows what needs to happen. So I do think that there is a actually make that the fucking title. Nisqy is the Faker of the LEC. Perfect. We won't get death threats for that. But I think that for this team, they need a player that is a hard carry that does really well with gold, which is not what Nisqy is super good at, because you have Yike on your team, and you never know what you're getting out of Targamas, right? You never know what you're getting out of Targamas.
Well, maybe that's what he's fixing. He's not fixing Yike. He's fixing Targamas.
No, we saw him play support.
We saw. I was about to say, like, yeah. Like, he made Nico look balanced, and I think that is, you know, that's a well done.
Nico is still getting banned, and it's like giga nerfed compared to what it was. Nico was actually, oof. I mean, if I say what Nico was, you know, I might get permabanned on Twitch. But yeah, Nico was
okay.
It had some hatred.
There we go. All right. I was like, I'm gonna let you finish this, but I don't know where we're gonna stick the landing.
Some funny 12 Dom was about to rear his head there, maybe.
You know, the last time
Nico has preferences.
Would always talks about this on LCK. He's like, you could see I'm struggling to figure out which word to use because we're on broadcast. And I was like, I saw the same exact thing right there that you were doing. I was like, I didn't mean that he would take Targamas' job or whatever. He would be fixing, instead of the jungler making the mess, he'd be fixing Targamas' mess.
Maybe like emotionally he could help. He'd be like, hey, Targamas, bro, like you Come on, he could speak to him in French, just get that. We're both Belgian guys. We're both Belgian guys. And we know that we're not really French, but we pretty much like act like we're French the whole time. Like we're just in the French community. And I know that it might feel a little bit like you got this, bro. Like,
you got this. Yeah. You can do it.
Hype him up. Tell him he's the GOAT.
Boom.
Like, yeah, bro. No one even remembers what you played like on XL. Like, no one remembers the XL like winter split. No one remembers, winter last year with KC. Your time is now, bro. Show what you're good at. And then he just goes to the game and like gets like a nice Rakan engage or something, and that's it. That's what they're going for.
I don't mean to trigger Dom here, but it did kind of make me want to ask Jamada what you thought of this Na'Vi roster.
It's just fucking horrible, bro. Like, what else is there to say? It's gonna go 9th, 10th again. And if it doesn't go 9th, 10th, I think that is a real statement about the other teams in the bottom half of the table in the LEC. Like, if they manage to somehow escape...
I mean, SK is pretty fucking bad, so I think that SK could easily go 10th, to be fair.
I agree, but, like, we'll... I guess we'll have to wait for the much. I guess in our format we might not end up seeing it, but the Na'Vi versus SK series in summer, maybe it ends up happening. But yeah, no, they suck, bro. I don't have anything positive to say. My whole big thing throughout a lot of this year was, Larssen and coaching staff, right? Those are the two main things. They've been the longest remaining parts of every iteration of Rogue since it's been bad, and those parts haven't changed. Larssen, I think, signed a contract until like 2027 or 8 or something ridiculous. Like, he's there to stay. He took the pay cut to stay. Like, he isn't going anywhere. And it's like a weed, like you have to take the roots have to all be lifted to make sure that something beautiful can grow. And that's how I feel about Na'Vi, and that's how I feel about Larssen and Freddy. These guys just, to me, I think they are the culprit of making every team or every iteration of Rogue, now that I've seen it play out in its entirety, boring as shit and bad. Boring and bad. Like, that is a terrible combination to have as a title, and that's what they're rocking with right now. So yeah, I think even when they rebuild next year, it's if Larssen is still playing and the coaching staff is still the same, then we're just going to get the exact same fucking results. Maybe they come like 7th or 8th if the rest of the roster looks good enough, but I don't see it playing out any other way.
Look, this, to me, one of the really big aspects of coaching is trying to understand what your players actually can do, and then making your team go towards whatever the strengths of your players naturally are. And I feel like Rogue, it's like they have a very defined way of how they view the game, and then they just try to funnel everyone through that view, as opposed to being a little bit more loose with the players that you have and really being able to maximize them. Like, you have fucking Adam on your team. This guy is like such a, like, what this guy does. For the longest time, exactly what his strengths and exactly what his weaknesses are. The fact that you can't get Adam to like win you 5 games a split, 4 games a split. Like, my whole thing is I don't think Adam should be on an absolutely elite team, because I think that if your team has to always live and die by Adam, it's not a way that you can win a championship or be like top 2. That's what I believe. Like, you'd much rather have a player like Kana that's stable, that can play every style. But if you want to make the game around Adam, you literally have the blueprint of what you could do last year. I mean, Nuck and Larssen, even though Nuck is better than Larssen, they're similar players in terms of what their strengths are. They're mage players, right? Yep. They're mage players.
Majors.
So you can literally copy paste the BDS philosophy onto this Rogue lineup and just be a shitty version of BDS and be like 7th place or 6th place, maybe. That shouldn't be that hard. Like, I can understand Rogue not being a top team with the lineup they have, but the fact that Heretics is outperforming them, and Heretics just looks like a way more functional and better team than them, just shows how much better Heretics is coached and how much more bought in those players are into the philosophy of what makes a team solid. And yeah, I just don't believe in that type of coaching staff. If you see, I mean, look, a coach can't fucking play the game for you. If a team has a bad split, or they underperform in one moment. I'm not going to say, oh, this coach is fucking always to blame. Like, that would be ridiculous. But it's been so many iterations of this team. And you've had so many different players, right? Like, you had Finn as a player, right? You go back, you what was a psychopath? Shigenda with the guy.
That's what I wanted to bring up.
This guy?
Yeah,
that guy was clearly a psychopath. He was like a lane dominant psychopath. He was kind of a bad version of Kana, Gnar, Jace, these types of champs win lane. They couldn't play through that. They couldn't play through like Adam's like, abusive like bruiser top style. They're not able to play with Finn. It's like who can play on this team that's going to make the team actually fucking look good at this point?
They need a
not every player is going to be Odo.
This is what I was about to say. Like, to me, it seems like they want to be like the poor man's Genji. Basically,
yeah.
Like when I think about
the extremely like the fentanyl ridden like homeless guy, like doing the fent fold on the LEC stage, like that type of Genji, like five fentanyl, five fentanyl addicts,
like. It's
put
just
Genji on Fent and have them play in LEC. I bet you they could win more games straight up. Like, maybe not at the beginning, but once they develop like some amount of like tolerance to it, I think they could win some fucking games.
It might happen, but yeah, like this is just what they fucking do, and this is what they've done forever. And if they don't, I don't get it. It's like they are so one track minded, like you're saying, and it seems like either Larson or Freddy or both view the game one way, and they want the game played that way, and it doesn't matter who's on the lineup. If they will just try to play that way, and it's like right now they have, I think, outside of some real old names, one of the most well-known psycho tops of all time in the LEC, and they're trying to get him to play standard more than not. And then obviously you highlighted Shigenda, who I think mechanically, like coming out of the ERLs at the time, and I think he had actually been in the LEC prior a couple of years before he came back in 2023, has always been regarded as one of the, again, just like in lane, he is fucking scary. Never gets used. So this is that is like the admission of guilt to me. That is just a systematic issue with this team. And until those guys are gone, again, same shit on repeat. Poor man's Genji. If they don't have an LTA type player top, if they don't have like a smart chess player jungler, if they don't have basically a air quotes Korean style AD, they're gonna look shit, and they will continue to look shit.
Look, their game 2 draft, is there anything that is more anti what you'd think of when you think of these players than what they have drafted, right? In game 2 versus KC, they had Adam playing Cho'Gath, so they have Adam on tank duty.
Okay.
Malrong, who's first timing support, is playing Nico, like a lane dominant support where you have to be very smart about lane matchups, know all the specifics. Like, you cannot just fucking go into lane and just be useful either way on Nico. You actually have to play the lane phase. That is one of the main advantages of the champion. And then they have Larson on fucking Yone. It's like, how the fuck are we ever on a draft where we are not on like a bruiser top, a fucking mage mid, and then Malrong playing like Leona or Rel or fucking Nautilus or fucking Alistar or some shit like this? That should be the game plan every fucking game until we can get a win. There is no way that we are playing Larson Yone into Vladi Rise and expecting to ever win this game, bro. Like, you think that Kalist on Ezreal and Vladi on Rise, which is like already a not easy Yone game, and then you have Larson's going to play Yone and actually do something in this game? Hell no, he's not going to do anything. He's going to completely fucking run it. Like, it just is what it is. The way that they like view their team is so like delusional at this point. It's not even cocky. I was going to say cocky, but it is just delusional. You guys are not good at these champions. You guys are very specific players that everyone knows what these players are good at. Bro, these players have played for fucking years, right? These players have played for years. We know who Larson is. We know how Adam is. Just draft things that will enable them to be able to actually play the game together. That's it. And then you win. You win something. You win one game every now and then, I hope.
Yeah. Also in that game, there was a Jarvan not being piloted by Malrong. Weird. I think that's the sad thing about the purchase now. It's that it's in the middle of a season, so there's only so much cleaning of the house that you could do, right? Like if you wanted to, like let go of the coaching staff. It made it tough because you got to get a new staff in, you got to get new management in. It might be just kind of caretaker interim. Because they're the leftover.
I hear you, dGon. But they extended Larsen's contract. So any goodwill
other than that one,
any goodwill I have in your argument right now kind of evaporates because of that. But yeah, it's a tough spot. No one was expecting Na'Vi to like magically come in and then like fix all of Rogue's problems. Split one, but fuck me, the bar was low, and right now they're playing jump rope in hell. You know, like I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, because when I just think about org like purchases, org takeovers, it usually either it's at the beginning and they get the people they want, or it's you ride with it and see what happens, which is what happened with NRG. And then what happened? NRG got stuck with the roster last year, and then they were like, actually, we don't want to do this. We won our championship. We're out. They were in for 3 splits and got out and forced this whole blow up in this whole format change over at the LTA North. What's the other one? There was one more where I was like, they came in and changed everything. I can't remember what I had it ready, but the NRG one was off the top of my mind. So we'll see what happens with Na'Vi. Maybe they're able to figure it out. Maybe they're able to say it's the current regime's fault, and then we can start doing the cutting or whatever. I just wonder if there's any way to get out of that Larsen contract. It was more just like, yeah, sure, non-guaranteed money.
Well, I mean, he took a
package.
He took a lower contract, apparently.
Yeah.
What if they were willing to just eat that anyways because they had to cut him, but then they just extended it for 2 years? So it's the same amount of money, just over 2 more years. And it's like, we cut you anyways.
Bro, and no one has any fucking money in esports these days. This shit is just barren. Like, you go to a fucking Na'Vi game and you look at the numbers, and it's like, this is when they're supposed to have a fan base from other games, and the first thing they see is this. They don't feel any connection to the players. You know, it was rough. I don't know. I just don't believe in it.
Not yet. Let's give them time. This is an OG org that's had a lot of success across multiple different titles. Not saying they know what they're doing in League, but they do have a track record of surviving in esports. So we'll see. All right, that was way too much time talking about this or that, or a keeper kick on Poby being top 3. Like, we need to stop talking about that. And remind you guys about our friends over at Factor. Between busy schedules and summer plans, sometimes all we've got is a couple of minutes. Factor helps us eat smarter with tasty chef-prepped meals that are dietitian approved and delivered straight to your door. And now more than 65 weekly meals made for how you can live and what you like to eat, with more ways to get fit, makes it even easier. Choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp at no extra cost. Enjoy even more GLP-1 friendly meals and new Mediterranean diet options packed with protein and good for you fats. And for the first time ever, try Asian inspired meals with bold flavors influenced by China, Thailand, and more. From more choices to better nutrition, that's why 97% of customers say that Factor helped them live a healthier life, just like Dom did, right, Dom?
Yep, I've been doing Factor for a long period of time. Still doing it. I get 8 meals a week now, and yeah, it's been great. I've been experimenting with some of the steak meals. Like, normally, I just kind of thought that the steak would not be as good as like chicken, just because of how steak normally keeps. But they've nailed the steak. They've nailed the filet mignon. It's still juicy. It's not like tough at all, which I was really surprised about. So I've been doing more of the filet mignon from Factor, and it's just been something that's been part of my diet for a long period of time. So I'm appreciative to Factor, because just having those meals ready at all points, like especially right before I do a show like this. If LPL ends and there's like 5 minutes to the show and I'm hungry, it's like 7 a.m. But I've been up for 5-6 hours at this point because I did like LCK or something, and I actually want a real meal. It's been clutch. So yeah, shout out Factor. It's something that I've been using for I don't know, maybe it's even 4 or 5 years at this point.
Yeah, I feel like it's 4 years now, brother. Well, eat smart at factormeals.com/powerspike50 off and use the code powerspike50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code powerspike50 off at factormeals.com for 50% off plus free shipping. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Thanks to our friends over at Factor for powering Power Spike. Let's move in to the final topic of the day as we go into the Galaxy Brain Club, as it is time to talk about two regions, but we'll combine it into one because it's kind of fast. It was a little slow week here in the LCK, and over at the LTA, it's been business as usual, but we got a couple matches to touch on there. So we move to the Galaxy Brain Club on NA and Korea. All right, let's start with T1 Gen G. That one was literally yesterday. We were going to try to record yesterday, but that match plus the DN Automotive Freaks getting their second win of the year was pretty awesome. Happened, so it pushed our show back. But that was an interesting one because T1 looked like the best team in the world in game one. They took it to Gen G. They outplayed the multiple different plays that Gen G tried to gank from behind in bot lane. Flashes were used perfectly, tempered fate perfectly. And then they just suffocated Gen G into a bad fight. Boom, boom, 10,000 gold lead, and T1 fans rejoiced everywhere. Game two, then Gen G did it back to T1. And then in game three, kind of a tighter match, Gen G ended up taking it there. But what are your thoughts on that series and kind of like the best, these two top teams as the best two teams in the world here, Jamada?
I mean, I just want to very quickly say before I dive into the series, Dom, you need to be worried for like your safety, your mental health. T1 looked legit. Like I hate to not I wouldn't say I hate to finally admit it, but I've been very apprehensive since the road to MSI. Even a lot of MSI actually, because of specifically the CFO series, where frankly I feel like they, air quotes, lost more games in that series than they won by the eye test. It wasn't until obviously they went on 3-0 BLG. Those two series just seem to have really flicked a switch in T1. And whilst there were signs prior, because like if you recall round 1-2, their Gen G series there, leading up to MSI as well, was actually pretty good. They ended up throwing game one, and I think that really threw them off in game two, and they ended up getting 0-2. But watching that series, it was a lot closer than a 0-2 would really indicate. So coming into today, or yesterday rather, I was actually worried Gen G were going to get slapped about a little bit. More because I feel like Gen G more and more, even though they're obviously still, Gen G, it feels like those more kind of air quotes out of character to traditional Gen G decisions that have been getting made more and more that are a lot further away from the typical like kind of 80-20 decision making and a lot closer to 50-50 has been skewing a lot more of their games throughout the course of the year. And dGon, like you said, game one in particular, I thought was really, really, really good. They landed in terms of draft, they got everyone on champs that, they're very, very comfortable on. And they outplayed Gen G around the map from pretty much start to finish. A lot of it came from the bot lane matchup in particular, where it just felt like Ruler and Duro just couldn't breathe. And since MSI, I think kind of perfecting the swap, the early swap as well. I think that is T1's biggest strength right now in the early game, is being able to move around Carrier and Guma, and obviously Doran, and navigating those lane swaps in the early game and just making the other team's life hell. And I feel like throughout MSI, I was very surprised that teams didn't clock onto it and kind of crack the formula a little bit earlier in terms of dealing with it. Especially some of the more cerebral teams. I think about like AL, for example, and I think it was maybe game 4 or 5 where they just lost an entire game like after 7 minutes off of a swap that looked really readable if you'd been watching T1 games, and they didn't read then. So yeah, I think T1 have just through and through improved, and it seems like the sticking power of whatever they learned throughout MSI and the back half of round 1-2 is remaining. So with the way that HLE look, I think that T1 are probably just very comfortably, and we've said it as well, are our second best team in the LCK now. And dare I say, they will, like, they look a little bit more consistent than Gen G at times, which is, I think, really scary. Obviously, game
Except
2 and 3 happen the way that they do. Except against Gen G. So, like, they really, that's why I say, like, they are comfortably the second best team to me. And I don't think that it's unreasonable that they could even win the split now. Like, you know, a lot of the time domestically T1, we always say, domestic T1, and then we'll laugh them off, and they'll at the very least go away to Worlds and do well. Well, they've broken the to me, I think they've broken the MSI curse this year by placing second and pushing Gen G to 5. And now domestically, they look as strong as they did internationally. And I don't see any signs of that slowing down. So T1 Gen G all in all was an absolute blast. And I think if game 3, I just didn't really like the draft angle. And that's, I think, for me, the one place where I'm still kind of worried about T1 all in all is kind of their overall flexibility in draft. And especially as we go deeper into series and Fearless at times, it feels like they either overcook or they're not considering certain angles. And I'll just also say fair play to Gen G, because I think the Corky flex with the Ziggs was just a objectively correct thing to do in that moment in time. And again, just shows that flexibility that Gen G, I think, have over T1, which is a bit of like separation between the two.
Yeah, it was a fun wrinkle. Wasn't game breaking, you know. We were calling it on the cast, but like it just a wrinkle. And I think any edge that you can get when it's between these two types of teams, I think are great. Dom, what did you take away from that series in the form of our two best in the LCK?
So for me, I think the thing that I liked the most was the way that T1 played out game number 1 when they had the early lead, because a lot of that lead just comes from their draft, right? Like you're picking early winning bot, right? You have just really strong early winning bot, and then you have really strong early winning top with the Aurora into Gwen. And when you play a game like that, you have to get the lead through your lanes, but the trade-off is that your team fights are very hard when you play into Sivir, Annie, Wukong, Gwen. Like it's very easy for the enemy team to just, if they find any target in the early mid game and they just flash on you, you're just dead, right? Like the Rel, on top of all that, they just have so much CC, so much damage. They're so good in these like early fights that you have to avoid it. And I think that the play that made me, I mean, it wasn't even really a play, but the decision that made me the most impressed with T1 was them not finding the third Drake. So if you look at this game, they've got a 3K gold lead and they're up 2 Drakes. And most teams, when they're ahead like this, will just autopilot to the Drake because they think that they're so strong that they can't lose. And what they end up doing here is they send Ryze top because there's no TPs in the game. And they have 3 people harass Gen G while Gen G is 5-man on the Drake while Ryze is pushing. And Owner also goes topside and takes Camp's topside away from Canyon. So they avoid the strongest point of the game for Gen G when like Gen G is like, all right, let's fight. You know, we're all on one item. And even though there's a 3K gold lead on T1 doesn't actually have an item advantage. So they understand that in this moment, they're not actually stronger than Gen G, even if it says that they're winning. And they cross map and get a like 3.5K lead, 4K lead off the sequence. And the most crucial thing about this is that when the 4th Drake spawns, which is around 23 minutes, that's when Ryze has 2 items. He's got Seraph's, Roa. He has upgraded boots as well. So he's significantly more unkillable. And at that point, they actually can tank him. And there's 2 items on the Aurora. The Trundle has 2 items as well. It's like the one-shot combo of Gen G is way less potent because it's harder for them to one-shot people. They can't one-shot everyone. And people are strong enough where if they do go for this one-shot, they'll normally be able to punish the people that went in. So like seeing that decision was really impressive to me. I was like, oh man, okay, they're actually like playing the game within the game better than they normally do. Because T1, when I see T1 and Gen G, generally how it feels like is that Gen G is just winning the map and T1 can clutch out and win fights. But this was the opposite of that, where T1 was playing the map, and Gen G was like committed to the fights that they weren't able to win. That being said, in the second game and the third game, I do think it is pretty damning for T1 that they lost this series, even with Canyon having a fucking stinker. Like Canyon was sprinting it for his standards. He never plays that bad. Like he's a very consistent player. He almost never makes mistakes like the Xin Zhao death at level 4 at 330 in game number 1, where he just fights the enemy Jarvan in river when he knows he has no bot prio. He just dies, gives double buffs. His bot lane loses like all summoners there. I mean, bro, if Blabber did this, Sven might actually kill him. Sven might actually he might be dead. Like he might be dead if this ends up happening. So it was just too fucked up to watch Canyon make that mistake. And the fact that Guma still was not able to carry that advantage, he made the mistake afterwards where he was hoping that Duro based. Duro hadn't based. He died, gave back the kill. Then as soon as they got back into lane, it was off camera, but Ruler just burned his flash 1v1, just beat the shit out of him, burned his flash 1v1, and that led into the next play that happened bot lane where they ended up winning the 3v3 for Gen G. The fact that Gen G was able to outplay them from the point that they were in game number 2, and then in game number 3, I think that's an example of what T1's problems really are, and you saw it in game number 5 at MSI as well, that they just don't have the champion pools to go deep the way that Gen G can. Like Gen G does have more champion pools, and people hate this take. This is one of my least popular takes when I talk about Faker's champion pool, because they're like, well, he's got the most champions played all time. In season 5, he played fucking Master Yi mid. It's like, okay, bro, that's nice. He played the Master Yi mid. The problem is that now into Chovy, when you get into game 4 and game 5, it's like Faker wants to play Ahri or Sylas. Like Faker's champion pool effectively to me is like Azir, Talia, Annie, Ryze, Orianna, and then it's like Sylas, Akali, and Ahri, right? And Galio. That's pretty much his champion pool. But in a lot of these games, like these are all banned, essentially. Most of them are banned. And what you're left with is a lot of conditional picks, whereas it feels like Chovy can play everything. Like some problems that they have later on, they can't play Yone, right? Before they used to be able to like flex Yone top because, Zeus is a really good Yone player. Probably wouldn't be a thing in this meta because Yone top is not good right now, but that was something that they would do to get around the pick. Faker is a bad Yone player. He's a bad Corki mid player. So he can't play like an AD mid. He can't play just a bunch of the weird picks. I think Faker is also pretty bad at Aurora. That's another pick that I think is pretty rough. I mean, obviously it was played top early in the series, but his Aurora is generally not good. It's definitely not as good as Chovy's Aurora, so that's something that they struggle with. And yeah, like you just kind of know what's coming. In these like game 3s, it's becoming an Ahri or a Sylas or one of these types of champs. And Chovy just has counters to that. If you blind Sylas mid into Chovy, I mean, Chovy can play a bunch of different shit. Like even if it wasn't these picks, Chovy's the type of motherfucker to pull out like Renekton mid or like Set mid or one of these types of picks and just fist you. Like he's like that. He plays Aurelion Sol that he can always play if it's a really good game for it. He can play Cassio and just all these different things. Are things that you think Chovy would be comfortable playing, and it feels like Faker never gets a champion advantage when it comes to the later game. Oh, Ryze is also a Faker champion. So it's like he plays enough champions, but it's like you're not guaranteed that one of those champions is going to be good in a later game of the series. And one of the problems is that like it just feels very hard for Faker to ever have a winning matchup. Like they just don't have winning matchups often later on in the series.
Right. This was both a pool thing and a draft thing because they prioritized picking Sylas. They picked Sylas, and then Gen G on red side were able to pick the Corki, and that was the flex. So when we were talking about what the flex was, it was Corki into the Sylas. Here's something that doesn't have a game-altering ult that you can steal away. Then they take the Ziggs, and we're like, okay, could be Ziggs mid, but it's probably not. And that is what ended up happening. So to what Dom illustrated, it was Ahri maybe was the pick that he could have gone with or was thinking that Chovy would have gone with. And then instead, Chovy picking the Corki and Gen G building around that. That was the prep. That was the draft. Maybe it is a pool thing, but all the points that Dom's making, I think I generally agree with, except the Aurora. I think his Aurora is just not as good as the other champs. He can play a serviceable Aurora, but other than that, Dom laid it out pretty clearly. It's not as strong yet, and the meta hasn't brought weird things back. Oddly enough, in the LCK, we haven't played Lissandra. I thought that with Fearless, like Lissandra would be here, but I guess the numbers are so bad that like that's a faker champ that
I don't think the numbers are bad. I've been thinking about this champ lately as well, because I think there's a lot of mobility, and I think there's weirdly enough good matchups that I'm surprised that no one's been willing to pull it out in those spots where it's like, hey, we want like pick or first kill and what have you. This is great. Like the only thing like off the top of my head is that like technically obviously her range is not fantastic, but do you care in the spots that you want to play Lissandra anyway? Like
I mean, the spots just never come up. That's the problem. It's like you want to play like Lissandra into Ahri. You want to play like Lissandra into like an Akali blind. Like these types of picks are not being picked. You don't want to play it into Galio. You don't want to play it into Ryze. You don't want to play it into Talia. You don't want to play it into Orianna. You don't want to play it into Sylas. You don't want to play it into Azir.
I feel like
you don't want to play it into Annie. It's like
I feel like more like earlier in the year though, the spots were coming up a lot more frequently. Now I think we've shifted away from like its spots a lot more. But if you to see like game 4, game 5s, I think it's still one of those more, to me, like serviceable but also like easy to execute on champs. I do agree, like generally the mid lane matchups of what we've got to now is definitely not fantastic. And I think its value, like potential value, has dropped a lot. But earlier on in the year, where it was like you're seeing a lot of blind Ahri and sometimes like Akali looked nice and it would on occasion get blinded. Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't see more lists. Maybe we do towards the end of the split if mid lane matchups kind of change, because again, like there's a lot of talk around the jungle pool shifting, right? And if the jungle pool shifts, then naturally the mid lane pool shifts a bit too. But even in saying that, if AP junglers are going to show up more, Liss is not going to show up. So we'll see what effect it actually ends up having later on.
Yeah. Here's we had 170 champions currently out. It's 171 now. 30 yet to appear. The ones that jumped out at me were let's see. So Lissandra was one. I think Volibear was one where I was like, I can't believe no one played Volley yet. I feel like I thought I saw it.
Between like in the major regions? Like in the top like world qualifying regions?
It's just LCK.
Oh, just LCK. Oh, okay.
You've had 140 champions at LCK so far?
Yeah.
That's actually really crazy.
Wait, so like, so no Shaco, no fucking Rammus.
You're gonna run the list on what's not showed up.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about like, so have we seen
champ
Quinn?
Hasn't been played yet.
We probably saw Quinn. We probably saw Quinn into Renekton.
Yes, we've seen Quinn.
Yeah.
Akshan probably hasn't showed up.
This is LCK Cup first stand MSI. Akshan has been played. Has not.
What about Belveth?
Yeah.
Briar for
Belveth has not.
No,
Briar has not.
Briar for not has not.
Yeah, keep going.
Played
No
Echo?
Teemo. No Echo. That was another one where I'm like, Like, I guess its number's too low. Fizz is low, or Fizz is out. No Heimer yet.
Oh, Heimer, okay. Yeah, I can see that. No Hecarim, I guess.
No Hecarim, that's correct.
What about no Alawi? Has anyone played Alawi?
No Alawi. No Alawi.
No Alawi.
Rest in peace, that champ also, just side note.
Did we get a cart this game?
Yeah. We've had Canyon played one cart this game at some point this year, right? I'm pretty sure it was him.
Yes, he does.
I remember him playing it last year. I didn't know he played it this year.
Here, I'll just go through the list. Let me just go through the list.
Yeah, or just run the list quick.
Yeah, so I don't know what order this is in. They're just kind of spattered. So Graves, Vel'Koz, Evelyn, Nasus, Volibear, Kled has been played, I think. Volibear, Alawi, Darius, Briar, Jenna, Rammus, Samira, Kat, Rek'Sai, Shaco, Kane, Rengar, Sona, not Talia, Kiana, Riven, Shyvana, Teemo, Lissandra, Akshan, Fizz, Master Yi, Echo, Heimer, Belveth, Unks Champ, Udyr, and Hecarim.
That's crazy. They killed fucking Udyr, man.
I thought it was back. I thought in that tweet or
no, it's like I love solo queue, but it's actually shit.
Yeah, It is
I think they
not
just
good
killed the champion.
for-
I don't know. I feel like it's super weird how they view. I think they just didn't. They just thought it was like annoying for people to play against, so that's why they decided to kill it. But it didn't seem like a champion that was like ever super OP in the jungle. You know, like I think they should have just balanced it around like not having as high base damage and better like AP ratios. But they didn't really do that. They just nerfed the base damage like super hard, and the AP ratios weren't nerfed enough to make it so you could actually get away with playing like Leandre's builds and stuff.
All right. Well, that was enough for LCK. Let's and that was mainly the news over in LCK. Gen G T1
T1
they
Gen G,
played. Hanwha got bopped by T1. Let's see. DNF beat DRX. That was tough.
Yeah, bro, the fucking Dom 1 series. This team needs.
Yeah, D plus lost to
They're
Hanwha
so bad.
or
They're
to
so
BNK Fearx.
BNK Fearx. They that game 2 is the most criminal thing I've ever seen. Like, they might be one of the stupidest teams in the world.
They have too many teams to not make or too many wins to not make playoffs. So there's still a chance. There's still a chance they go to Worlds.
Play-ins, to be fair, yeah.
Sorry, play-ins. You're right.
Yeah.
This is the old conversation of like, was it better to be top of the bottom group when you thought you should be in the top group, or was it better to just get your like
if you
fucking
do it like
fisted
EDG,
every week?
If you do it like EDG and you haven't dropped a game, then people might be like, okay, Dom 1's back. You know, they lost. They had a bad like little run there. But if they were good in winter and then they looked good now, if their eye test was checking out, but they actually look like the lowest IQ team in the entire world when it comes to like the difference between if you were to rate like different scores. Let's say we were doing NBA 2K ratings, right? And you had different scores for different things. And you looked at this team and you went for mechanical ability. Like, what is their average level of mechanical ability? And then their like game knowledge or their game IQ, whatever you want to fucking call it. They would have the biggest difference between their hands and their game IQ worldwide. They're just so the way they play is so ridiculous. The way they threw this game too, where they just like walk up mid and run down the whole game. That shit is fucking mental, bro. Like they just walked up mid with their Nico, which is something that is not good at playing like in like 2v fucking 4 and like outplaying situations. You really just want to flash into a fight. And your Yunara, who has cleanse flash, they walk to the tier 2 and just lose the entire game. And then they proceed to get caught a million times until the game is over. It is so insanely frustrating to watch them play. That shit literally put me in a bad mood today when I saw it. I was like, this is gross, man. Like we gotta be more disciplined than that. Then we just walk up to tier 2 mid when other people aren't showing. That's a crazy way to end the game. There was no like, shift, like, okay, we got pressure at all the lanes. We can like move our top laner to mid lane, and then our mid laner, then our mid lane, which is the AD carry at this point, will go bot and we'll take the turret with our strong Yunara. It was none of that. It was just like walk forward like NPCs, hit the mid lane turret, and then just get engaged on and lose the whole game. Nice. Well played. We did it. I'm sure the coach is very happy with this one.
Well, that is what Chronicler's life is like as a D plus fan. It's brutal.
He's a D plus fan?
It's brutal.
He's a D plus fan.
Yeah, he was on the Dam 1 train for a while. Plus, they promoted most of their players, right? You know,
he was
Lucid is from the system. She was from the system. Thanatos was from the system. Yeah, of course.
He's a Thanatos fan?
Yeah.
Nice. Thanatos is the GOAT, bro. Yeah, he's too good.
He is supported them for a while, and so now he's in tough straits. All right. Let's move over to LTA North real quick before we call it a day. Biggest surprise was Leon Surdy leaving to go be a streamer, came back, and then Bops Team Liquid was the man for the interview. He wasn't the only person, that bopped him. But TL, they dropped to Leon. That's the only upset that happened there. Surprised, not surprised, Dom.
I wasn't surprised by Lion because I mean I've been scrimming them. They play pretty decently in scrims. They're not like a terrible team. I was surprised by how bad TL played, to be honest. Like TL they just look so different. Like I mean they're kind of one of these teams that you expect to be good at some point because I mean they did win Winter, right? They won Winter even though it was the worst format of all time. They won Winter and they were like the best team over the course of last year in LTA or LCS at the time. So seeing them just lose the way they did to Lion was pretty concerning. But I still like respect TL as a team. You know, I'm surprised that they just end up being so bad so consistently. It's weird.
You thought that moving on from Umpty and you know, getting someone who's better would fix things, and it hasn't here, Jamada.
No, I mean, it's not really even that. I don't think it would really fix things. It's more that I just thought that Impact and APA and Core would just play better in general. That's what it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty in line with Dom here. I also think, like, to kind of revisit some older talking points too about, you know, Fearless remaining a thing when TL were one of the teams of like the least champion diversity last year, and them being one of the stronger, if not the strongest, lane swapping team out of 2024 from LTA North or LCS. And, you know, swaps from the beginning of the game being gone, both like very systematic, like it just very systematically hurt TL, and it doesn't seem like they've necessarily found any broader fixes to, or like adjustments in their play where like now I feel like maybe looking over at some T1 games might do them some good. If, you know, you see how they swap, you know,
I mean,
between
they swap
3
with
minutes and 5
lanes.
and yeah, so that's like the problem. So I don't know. I just feel like they should be playing better and they're not. And I don't really have. I can't really point anywhere other than it just seems like their mechanics aren't up to the standard that they normally would be, and they don't seem as, I don't know, on the same page. Like, I don't know, they just look lost like a lot of the time, and it's not what I've come to expect from TL from like the back end of last year, and you know, a fair bit of winter too.
Yeah. Is there how much of this can we contribute to Lion Gaming? Because otherwise it just feels like, all right, we're just dunking on out of form TL.
Personally, I think you could attribute it to a fair bit of it to Lion. Like, they've continually looked like they've been improving bit by bit throughout the year. And if Dom's like scrim gospel is anything to go by, then yeah, like they are a decent team. So I'll give them their flowers quite happily, right? People from anytime I've spoken to anyone from LTA North, they've spoken very positively about Saint and Henna and just the overall performance of that lineup. And I think also Odilan had a generally really good series. So I think between that and just again the TL just not quite all being there, was more than enough to edge that series out. And I could have very easily seen them on the day, based on how it played out. I could have seen them 2-0ing them, to be completely frank with you.
Yeah. Any other kind words for Lion? Just
I mean, Lion, it's weird, right? I mean, I think the Hedda is actually really good, and I think that Saint is pretty good, but does some weird shit sometimes. I don't believe in Lions. I mean, Sturdy played all right. He played pretty good, better than I expected. Not sure if that means that he's actually like back or anything, or if he'll, you know, play as well as he did before, but there was something going on there. So yeah.
The other close series, I mean, this Shopify team keeps getting away with it. It is the Palafox contracts summer playoff buff thing that they keep freaking doing. They get picked by yet another lowest team that could pick them in 100 Thieves. Does it continue? Do 100 Thieves go 0-3?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even really care, to be honest. Like, Shopify is essentially already guaranteed at the top, right there. Shopify is guaranteed top 4. I mean, it's a really weird format because a lot of matches don't matter unless Lion beats FlyQuest. Then Shopify is guaranteed top 4, which means that they will probably just get picked by whoever gets first. So we'll see.
Hang on. If Lion beat FlyQuest and you guys win, who is there a tiebreaker?
No.
Is that
it would be split by game score, right?
Yeah, it would be already split because TL would then be 1 and 2.
Okay, then you got your 0-3 and then TL 1 and 2. Okay, never mind. All right. What are you looking out for this week for your boys?
I mean, I just want to see us like not make as many like random mistakes. I mean, when we played against Dig and Lion, it's like we'll have like a semi-disaster and then just win the game easily anyway. But I just want to see more like better play around Grubs specifically. Like we lost Grub situation 3 out of 4 games that we played. And it doesn't really matter when you play against bottom teams, but if you play against like FlyQuest and you do that, you're probably losing the game. Or you're going to have a very hard game to play. So just better decisions around that and just cleaner snowballing when we have leads.
All right. There you go. Jamada, final takeaways for LTA North before we wrap it up.
Yeah, for C9, keyword, big D, discipline, right? Needs to be there. Otherwise, yeah, it looks a little bit dire. But the format it feels like it saps so much fun. I know, like almost being a dead horse, but it does feel like it saps so much fun out of this league, especially when realistically you have obviously your top 2. You have C9 Fly, Shopify seem to get away with it, and like I'm not going to put a lot of stock in Lion, but at the very least they make things interesting, right? So there's like 5 teams that could theoretically be fun to watch, and we're not really getting to see them play super frequently against each other because of the format off rip, and it's not going to be until later on in the split where that happens. So major takeaways are everything just looks the fucking same, and it's a little bit difficult to feel excited, but I do feel at the very least once we hit playoffs and like the bracket like kicks in, shit will look fun.
Yeah. All right. Real final bit, just because we touched on people stepping away or whatever last week. Jensen announced his official retirement. No more comeback here. How will you remember Jensen in his career, Jamada? I find it interesting because I think how Dom and I might see it, like the 3 of us will have different perspectives, I think.
I mean, for me, as a predominantly European fan, you know, during this period, and hell, this is like before I was even really like this is just raw like fan emotion, bro. This guy was fucking terrifying in his day to play against, even when we still felt like as a region significantly better than NA. So, you know, the overall impact they had on that region, I mean, what's the record is like 8 worlds back to back. Yeah, just a generally fantastic career to look back on. And I feel like there's not too many, like, in my opinion anyway, I don't think there's too many players that go over to NA and then make a career out of it that looks as good as that. Like the list is very short. So shout out to Jensen. It's obviously sad to see him retire, but it felt like this announcement could have happened 2 years ago and we'd have the same feelings. You know, it'll be at least to me it'd feel kind of the same now as it would back then. But again, that first stretch, you know, that first 5-6 years in NA was yeah, very, very fun. And the guy was fucking scary as a European rep back in the day.
Yeah, we'll just skip past the FlyQuest and Dignitas years.
Yeah.
Dom, well, I mean, you know, as a pro, as a streamer, we covered him a lot. How when people bring up Jensen, how would you remember it and contextualize?
I mean, I'll just consider him the second best mid laner that ever played in LCS. Like,
yeah,
after Bjergsen, I mean, that's pretty much who I looked at, and he did win 3 championships, but that doesn't really like do his career justice because he was competing against like the best teams. Like, you know, the TL Super Team, obviously he was on it in the second year, but the first year, you know, he was able to consistently compete and get top placings even when his team was not supposed to be one of the best teams. And he was just a star like all the time in a bunch of different metas. You know, like he was the best Echo player in LCS for a period of time. You know, he was somebody who could play the control mages. Like he would just have different things that he would be good at, and he would always be effective. So I respect, you know, his staying power and how well he played throughout most of his career. And yeah, I mean, he was just always somebody who was pushing NA forward, and he was the main rival of Bjergsen. And without him, you wouldn't be able to realize how good Bjergsen really was. You know, he pushed Bjergsen to be even better. And yeah, it's just one of the most elite players that we've ever seen.
Yeah. Love that. I love the way, because when I think about it, it's synonymous with Bjergsen, right? Like you talk about two of the best in North America. It's not three of the best. It's the two guys that were clearly the best there. You know, when it comes to the imports, Jamada, your import point, it's Bjergsen, Jensen, Impact, and now maybe Inspired. But like those are the guys that are like the best that have come on over and made a name into LCS lore and LTA North lore. And so I wish him nothing but the best. He was always a great interview, stand-up pro. People liked playing with him because they were winning. And yeah, there you go, Tom. Yeah, I didn't fix it. They liked playing with him when they were winning. And either way, like he provided the results. Like that's the thing. He provided the results. So hell of a career. Congrats. And can't wait till the LCS Hall of Fame gets made and his name gets enshrined in there alongside Bjergsen's and IWillDominate. All right, let's call it there. Great episode, y'all. After a slowish week, we will be back next week for more Power Spike action. Watch Dom's co-streams, watch Jamada over on the NLC, and his content popping off, educational content popping off as well. So if you want to get better at League, you want to be able to watch it better, make sure to check out his YouTube stuff. Also, if you want to get into the drama, we got Drama Alert Dom here. IWillDominate. He's I watched one of your videos and I was like, the Prime. The Prime.
The Logan Paul one?
Yeah,
okay.
Dude. I was like,
all right.
I was like, let's see what this is about. I'm at the gym. Let's see. And then all of a sudden I was like, damn, I watched the whole thing. It was pretty good, dude.
Hey, yeah. Man, the Clips channel. We made a different Clips channel, and now I'm just like doing reacts to League and just like the big stuff that happens in like the internet / streaming space because I've done streaming for such a long time. Like I've been on the internet as like a known personality, I guess, for almost like 17 years. So I feel like I'm the OG that comes down and like talks to the kid like, yo, this is how this shit started. If there's anything about early streaming days, how it evolved. I mean, it's something I've been in for a while. So I just give my perspective because I feel like my life has been unique in that regard. You know, I just went straight from being in college to competing and being on camera for the next like coming up on fucking 16 years, bro. I'm about to be 35 next week.
Old. All right, y'all. Well, old, make sure to wish him happy birthday when we have our next episode where you'll see us next time. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you later.